All right, this is part 2 of the reaction to Tectone, Twitch's most abusive liar. And again, I kind of want to continue to, shout out Shamu here. Subscribe, like to his channel. Takes a lot of work to do these kind of things. I post that on my description for my video as well, and for this one I will do as well to support people like this. I don't ask for support specifically, but I do understand that it does take time. And I do believe this is important, especially if you've watched my content. So let's continue.
This would lead to lawsuits involving Fream and Pink. Many of the claims Tectone was making that Pink would parrot were determined to be false, and the case would be settled after the determination in Fream's favor. Now, another settlement outside of this lawsuit happened between Tectone and Fream, I believe in Fream's favor, and led to both Fream and Tech being placed under NDA.
Believes in, and the NDA happened, yes, of course.
So Fream wasn't ever able to go public with her allegations against Tectone, but there will be more evidence shortly that they were very, very similar to Pink's. Me and her are good now, but I should have listened. When you're in it, you feel blind to reason. I see some...
This is common for SA in general. You always feel blind to it. It is not you. It is basically how, unfortunately, people like that do victimize and do abuse.
Comments that are worried, I just want to let you all know I am out and have been at my own place and am safe. Don't want to worry anyone. I've been taking it one day at a time since this.
Today, you are going to see me at my worst. Today, I feel like gonna be real. And I'm gonna address this right now because this is not content for me. I mainly just want my mods to hear this because I know a lot of my mods know about this. I'm gonna just keep it a buck. This ain't funny. This ain't cute. I can no longer help someone who is this stupid. I can no longer try to protect someone that is this stupid, who would betray me this much. And guys, I'm gonna keep this vague. I'm gonna keep this vague for a reason, okay? So if you're confused, you're gonna stay confused. I know the person who needs to hear this is gonna hear this, and I mean this genuinely. I did everything for you. I helped you with everything. I fixed everything for you. I was there for you like nobody else was there for you in your whole life. Your words, not mine. The fact that you're
Instead of a person that has been accused of something, going to lawyers and, asking for a cease and desist, he's trying to counteract, try to make sure the statements are rescinded because he knows that would be a win for him as well. This is a very manipulative tactic as well. These allegations are out there. He said he has lawyers on retainer. Obviously he doesn't. If he did, the lawyers would pick this up. They would take it, and then it would be dealt with legally. That's not how Tectone does business. Tectone has won using the court of public opinion, and he continues to win until he loses big time. We'll see if that ever happens.
letting these people get into your ear. People, the same people who are talking behind my back illegally, by the way. The same people who placed me under an NDA where I cannot talk about them. I know they're talking to you right now.
That's Fream. He's talking about NDA, all this stuff, right?
Behind the scenes. And they're getting you to believe in bull, letting them get in your head and make you imagine problems that never happened.
This is such an insane explanation. His ex-wife manipulated her to create all of the things Pink talked about. Does that sound logical?
And it's insane how these things that have happened in your own mind, you are now coming at me, and this just isn't cute. So I am going to leave it at.
Here's what happens when victims go to different groups, advocacy programs. They start learning other people's tactics and abuses, and they say, oh, I identify with that. That happened to me. I didn't realize that I was actually in an abusive relationship. And then they find out. So if Fream was talking to Pink, that's probably the revelation that she had about being in this situation. And hearing Fream's side for the first time, because all she ever heard was Tectone's side. And I'll be honest with you, if you only hear Tectone's side, you are going to live in the matrix like like Andrew Tate says that we live in.
This, my lawyer is going to be contacting your lawyer, the same lawyer that I helped you get because you were scared.
Weird as fuck here. This has always been weird. So fucking weird, man.
I'm not fucking around with this.
Conflict of interest, big time. If that's even the case, which I don't even think Tectone even knows a lawyer. I have no idea.
Yeah, Pink was scared of a woman that she self-admittedly had never even met or spoken to.
Let me just say, the videos that are being interjected in between these commentaries, pretty relevant to the gotcha scene too. Very smart person here. Very smart YouTuber.
Obviously, everything that she knew was coming from Tectone. Let's just look at a portion of the lawsuit Pink filed against Fream, and you tell me. On August 18th, 2022, Tectone hosted a live stream where he went on a real-life adventure visiting several anime shops and attending an elaborate and expensive sushi dinner. On the same day, Fream was extremely jealous of Tectone's adventure and was pouting in her office. Noticing Fream, Kurzum suggested they go out on their own adventure. Fream was excited by the prospect of going on a date with her crush, Kurzum, and agreed. Fream decided to impress Kurzum and put on her hottest outfit, a 2002-era Kim Possible look with turtleneck and cargo pants. She also made sure that her hair and makeup were perfect.
And just to hear that out loud as a way to file a lawsuit, oh my fucking God, you've got to be kidding me.
Mentioned that Tectone was intimidating because Tectone was larger and louder than Spance, which was extremely rare. Unprovoked, Fream responded that Spance shouldn't be intimidated by Tectone because he has a micro.
Damn, son. And let me tell you, for all those people out there that have micro penises, and I don't usually do this on my channel, I just want to let you know, you don't have to resort to Andrew Tate levels of, insular behavior. Most women do not get off by penetration. There are other methods and means to have a healthy relationship with anybody, including a woman, without having to penetrate them. You don't have to feel inferior. You can feel just as proud as any other man. Whether they have something or don't have something, it don't matter. Sometimes penetration is the least effective method, even with a big hog.
I find it rich that after getting Pink involved in this, letting her pursue revenge charges, then attempting to sue Fream based on Tectone's testimony of events, he takes absolutely no responsibility for any of this whatsoever. It makes me question just how culpable Tectone was after all the drastic measures Pink took against Fream, that they are now on good terms.
If you want to do this, then let's do this. But I can't sit here and hear your dumb schizo the out, which I thought you were medicated for. I guess not. Schizo the out.
My ex-wife, yep, that's the common tactic. My ex-wife and Pink are crazy.
Repeatedly. So enjoy. My lawyer will be contacting your lawyer, and we're going to shut this down right now because this is ridiculous. I tried to be cordial.
That lawyer did not contact any lawyers. There was no lawyers. There may be lawyers now, but there weren't then. That's pretty much been proven. I've proven that. Or at least he's lied on stream saying, counterintuited himself with this particular statement. I
tried to be nice. I tried to be happy. I tried to help you. And that's the way that you're going to repay me? Mm-hmm. Great. Check your phone messages. You'll be hearing from my lawyer very soon.
Never happened. And Pink said that she's never been contacted by a lawyer to this day, I believe, if I'm correct.
I assist everybody that I know. The same people who I
Angel Tectone
help the most end up me the hardest. And it happens year.
That's a very good way to try to, again, cultivate this cultist, sheepist, herdist mentality, and for his community to always believe him and not believe anybody else because he's always the victim. My name is Tectone and I'm always the victim.
After year after year, and everyone wants to pretend that I'm the bad guy. I'm done being.
You might be the bad guy.
In the good guy.
The next day, Tectone would post a response on Twitter as well, giving Pink 2 weeks to apologize and retract.
Oh, please use my video. Please. It was like one of the best videos I've ever made following up. And especially the 24-hour one. Please, YouTuber. I have not gone this far. I do not know. Spoiler alert. I do not know. Please.
Her statements, or he will pursue legal alternatives. He also proclaims that he was a victim of assault as well, which is not a good.
Yeah. Again, very bad victimization here. Trying to get that sympathy. Trying to use the tried and true tactics.
Response to SA allegations. Yeah.
And his community loves it. Oh, he's been a victim too. That means he's definitely not guilty.
Be the abusive rape if I'm the
You triggered my
Next day, Kitnetic on Twitter
That was a good beat for that anime. I don't know. I don't watch anime. What does this say? Who's this?
makes this post, which I find pretty interesting. Quote, "It's pretty damning that two women I was very close to told me the exact same story about the same man without ever having spoken to one another, to the last detail, going back years before they ever even knew the other woman existed. The same gaslighting, narcissistic, manipulative cycle of abuse." Pink then hearts this tweet, which confirms that it has to do with her. And the other person was obviously Fream, who was going to come out with allegations before something happened and NDAs were signed. Maybe a payout, possibly. Tectone would also announce what he called his resignation with OTK. I personally think OTK were well aware of his ex-wife's allegations, so this would have been the second go-around with abuse.
Second go around, which was already, in my interview with somebody, revealed essentially that parts of OTK, Ms. Kiff, Tone, or whatever his name is, the guy at the head there, I forget his name. Sorry, there's no reason why I forget somebody's name. I just don't really know. Knew about the allegations,
Except this time they became public. Tectone actually tries to pass off that his contract was up and he chose not to renew.
Let me explain to you why I left OTK, why I resigned from OTK. The reason why I resigned from OTK, why I did not resign.
This is such a validated expose, by the way. It's so validated.
Sorry, I'm very tired. Why I did not renew my contract with OTK that expired on November 1st, 2024. The original contract was 2 years with an additional option to extend by an additional year, thusly completing my 3 years in OTK. And the reason why I chose to not renew with OTK is because it gave me a weakness. And I realized I really don't like having weaknesses.
Yeah, sure. It was just a cosmic coincidence. It happened directly after Pink's allegations became public. Screw it. I'll count this one.
Are you calling me a liar?
You sit on a throne of lies.
Lies!
Pressure would mount until Tectone decided to go live on the 24th and make the single worst response to allegations I have ever seen.
Thank you so much. I've said this so many times in my videos of how dumb Tectone is about responding to these allegations.
In my time online.
We're going to talk about everything. However,
Please don't. Please stop. Just kidding. It already happened. So let's play it.
regards to a specific situation, I am only going to give you the tip of the iceberg, because the rest I am going to hold until I need to say it.
Now would probably be a good time to talk about maybe a little bit more than 5% Tectone.
I made the 5%, 95%, 95%. Okay, this is the time, if you're in this video and the second part you're watching this, I might get, I don't know if I should say this because I don't know what kind of terms of service I'm violating here. Actually, you know what? Here's what I will imply. There may or may not be an account by the name of 95 to 5% that was at one time in Tectone's chat talking to him. Based on the whole 5 to 95% that he provided. As a meme, maybe as an account meme, which I've not actually, just kidding. Which let's just say it happened for a very small amount of time.
Actually provide receipts or talk about the situation more in depth, considering your last two girlfriends appear to be calling you a rape.
I want to let you guys know one thing. I am not going to tell you a single lie this entire stream. At least I'm gonna try not to. And you know what's crazy?
Boy, this editor is very good. If I was a successful YouTuber that was trying to hire an editor, and I don't know, maybe this person's services are not available, but it's a very good editor in my opinion. They don't get paid well, but whoever that is should pay this person extremely well if they're successful as well, because you'll get your money's worth.
Guys, in case you don't know what the allegations are, let's just get them out of the way. I have been accused by my ex-girlfriend of being abusive, mentally abusive, and potential. I've been accused of all those things. And before, there's a guy in chat who's saying, again, This isn't an again thing. This is a one-time thing.
Well, now you're just posting up the reference to the potential NDA that you signed for Fream, going to make a Google Doc. That most likely is suggesting again.
There is no again.
That could have been Fream for all we know. Lies! A handful of lies!
That's a lie.
Liar!
He's a liar.
In my 30 years of being alive on this earth, there are two things that I've never done. I have never cheated. I have never placed anyone under an NDA.
Tectone unfortunately forgets to include the in the list of things he's never done. Keck.
I'm going to give you guys 5.
It's fair. It's a glaring omission. It's an observation that I might not have made, but either way, it's a good one to make.
% of the proof and the evidence that I have in my favor. He doesn't touch you, doesn't have sex with you, and keeps you around as a blood machine and degrades you. First of all, I've never degraded you. I never have, never will.
If you believe everything Tectone has set up until this point, you cannot believe that last part. We've already showed evidence about him degrading Fream. There's no way he doesn't do that. There's so many examples. So already, without any of the other serious allegations, liar!
And the other reason is Pink. You understand why I would not have sex with you. As a victim of sexual assault and rape myself, I had trauma when it came to having sex. This is a known fact. I have told you this from day one.
Victimizing himself to try to get away from the allegations. He's done this in every single fucking thing, and it's why I'm fucking mad at people like Asmongold and people like defending him, knowing that his tactic is so shady and so fucking beneath people. Stop it.
I've also said, if you can't handle it, it is what it is. I don't want to apologize for being raped and being scared.
So this isn't a big secret, but a context you should probably have is that this was the case for the majority of the 10 years with Fream and 2 with Pink, which corroborates Pink's allegations, the type of physical relationship that was had. Tectone attempts to offer this as an explanation, but it really just illustrates how disordered he is.
Now, I would like everybody to know, over the course of the past 4 months, I have since gotten over that.
Well, that's a bit convenient.
Yep. It's a very convenient, Your Honor.
Understanding everything, the romantic...
Because I'm on this Andrew Tate discourse now, and I cannot be seen as being a beta cuck, and I am transitioning to an alpha trans, who is a masculine man who has sex constantly with real penetrated, real hardcore stiffies.
You is crazy.
The demon is a liar.
Lies!
So, I would say, talking about things is good.
Tectone addresses Pink's post and provides only a single receipt, which in his mind is going to clear the entire debacle up. Must be pretty damning. Let's take a look.
Guilt trips you into giving jobs and says, do your job, you don't pay rent. I took you to a...
I'm going to say this right now. This person must have been following my content. And I know this. There are so many content creators who watch my content. It's actually proportionally crazy.
Water park, so you owe me. Pink, you implied that I was paying you to suck my... That is not true. You know that's not true. What you would do is, you would go upstairs, you would record your OnlyFans, and then you would beg me to suck my dick. You say that I would say, do your job, you don't pay rent. This is factually untrue. Here is you paying rent, not one time, but multiple times. That is you paying rent. And now what you might be thinking is, oh, well, maybe those are just edited screenshots. Well, then if you're not happy with my word, allow me to show you your own. My trauma with Tectone. I have been Tectone's roommate for a year now, and I can say he is one of the most understanding, kindest persons I have ever met, and contrary to popular belief, I do pay rent, Lamau.
Total Tectone victory. He did it. She paid rent. She was lying, right? Only there's one big tech dope issue.
She never said that she never paid rent. She said that Tectone told her that since you don't pay rent, you have to pay me back in these other ways. And then we literally saw a video of him doing exactly
So it's
that.
fucking bullshit.
She never said that she never paid rent. She said that he said she never paid rent.
Is that the garbage has not been taken out in 7 days. It's Pink's responsibility. And the reality is that she's in my house role-playing as a goth Hooters orderer, waitress. And honestly, it's really annoying because the reality is she doesn't pay rent. The reality is she doesn't pay rent. She's not doing her responsibilities, and she needs to do her
Oh, hang on a
The
minute.
garbage is
Bro.
Ah,
Oh,
ah,
dude, that is very deceptive on his part.
It actually beggars belief. The only point Tectone makes to address and fight against these accusations, he just straight up lies about. As he clearly states there,
The reality is she doesn't pay rent.
this was one of the things I actually asked Tectone about, and surprise, surprise, he refused to answer.
And I wish she would understand. If she would just delete the post and apologize, all of this would.
that's the point. The court of public opinion. I deleted all my videos, unlisted them. He came out. He doesn't talk about me at all. He came out and considered that a win. Court of public opinion instead of the court of law. And if he's so fucking innocent, in the state of fucking Texas, one of the most red, sloppy, meat protecting fucking states in existence in this state of the union, you would think he would go and get a fucking lawyer and sue or press charges or whatever the fuck due course he has, which he has plenty of it. But no, he likes to win the court of public opinion, and he's very profitable in that respect as well.
Go away and things would go back to normal. Will you tweet out the proof? I will at a certain point. I will at a certain point.
He never does, sir. Your Honor, does the prosecution have any evidence? Does the defense have any evidence? No, Your Honor. We rest.
I really, truly hope that you guys believe everything that is that I said. If you didn't, I'll
I'm gonna ban you. I'm gonna I'm gonna blip. That's all, folks.
provide proof later.
Right, so obviously without proof, nobody knows what actually happened. But it's like, dude, this guy's only receipt was him being totally deceptive and just straight up lying, caught in 4K. And here's the thing, it's not even on him to provide proof, but he said he had it and will provide it and just never does as things get increasingly worse. How does this make any sense?
It
How am
doesn't.
I not supposed to see this as incredibly suspicious?
It-
Literally, him never talking about the allegations would have been better. Worst response ever.
Ugh. So right. How many times have I actually said it? Clip that. Some editor, clip that. Just kidding. I don't want you to do any work because that would be for free. And I don't ask anybody to do that for me. I'll do it myself, which I never will because it's not really on my to-do list.
LSF is a miserable place.
I bet it is.
And I know that now that I have shown proof with receipts that I am cleared of all wrongdoing.
In January of 2025, Pink would state that Fream never actually had revenge porn for her. She was lied to and used as a pawn to defame someone that didn't deserve the hate. That her and Fream had cleared up what really happened, and that any lawsuits/charges wouldn't be pursued, and that most of what was put out was distorted in order to defame Tectone's ex-wife, Fream. On January 15th, Tectone made an announcement basically saying, "Hey guys, I know I said I was going to sue Pink, but unfortunately, she knows all the loopholes in defamation cases. Yes, the young
dear Watson, we just found the evidence. He's a lying sack of shit.
OnlyFans girl who sounds like this.
Look, okay, I'm a girl. I don't want to look bad. What if my coochie comes out?
Here's the crazy idea.
Thank you. Now my sisters are now gamer nerds and weebs, and I have infected them.
Is a defamation savant, totally ruining your life. This makes total sense. Don't question it. But from the website Law Shelf, it specifically states that, quote, for a statement to be considered defamation, it must be about the plaintiff. Even if the statement does not mention him or her by name, it can be actionable on grounds of defamation if a
100%.
A reasonable person would understand the communication as referring to the plaintiff. And seeing as every single person on the internet that knows about this understands that it's being communicated by you, it looks like you're full of shit yet again.
Been lying to me? I'm gonna charge you with perjury.
Your perjury is gonna get you in jail, sir. Even if, let's say, you're able to wiggle out from all these other allegations, the fact that we just found one little lie, you are perjuring yourself.
Also states once again in the face of abuse allegations that it's actually him that was assaulted, and that Pink is actually inhumanely weaponizing assault against the real victim, Tectone. Again, it's just a terrible response regardless of its validity when facing these accusations. He also brings up the NDA, but sort of lies about ever putting anyone under one for allegations they were going to make. Well, we know now for a fact Fream was going to come out with allegations against Tectone, and shortly after that, a settlement, payout, or something happened, and both parties were put under NDA. 2 weeks later, on January 23rd, Pink would announce that she had contacted the police and reported Tectone. A couple of months after the Pink allegations became public, Tectone got a literal Berserk tattoo to represent.
I see. I don't know what this tattoo's all about, but now we're gonna get context. He's also got stuff on his fingers now too, so I don't know if this is some code that I'm not familiar with.
And his struggle. If you don't know about Berserk, essentially the main characters get what is called a brand of sacrifice, where after receiving it, they are doomed for eternity to be pursued and sacrificed by demons.
Oh my fucking God. Listen, if Hassan needs to be banned off Twitch, so does Tectone. How many times? YouTube, all of it. These people are not your role models. You know, at the end of the day, they're not your role models. I wish they all stood for peace, love, and justice, but they don't. They don't. And some do say they do. And their message is not bad, you know, in the context of reality, but at the same time, they're not the people that they say they are. And nobody really is. And therefore, you know what? At some level, you got to hold yourself accountable. They don't hold themselves accountable, and they need to be off the platform. If it applies to one, it applies to all.
This guy gets accused of abuse and is acting like he is Guts from Berserk, literally branding himself to represent his struggle. It's
I had no idea, but this just makes it even worse.
Unbelievable. He's like Guts, guys, but instead of fighting demons, he women. Not only this, but what do you think Berserk is famously controversial for? You guessed it, gratuitous amounts of SA. I'm not kidding.
Are you fucking kidding me?
This guy got the anime tattoo after getting accused of it.
What the fuck is that, guys? Are we kidding? What are you watching? What are you reading? We're not gonna stop on there. We're gonna.
After he cut off communication with me.
Bros. You don't need to watch all that. That's way too much, man. I know Twitter's bad. I know TikTok is bad. I know it's a cesspool. I know you get to see a bunch of stupid shit. That's far worse than probably that even. But still, bro, don't expose yourself to that kind of stuff. That's just way too far. There's a lot more healthier, normal stuff that's just as exciting, just as fulfilling. You don't need to see that. It's not important.
For the next few days, he started emo posting stuff like this as well, which is hilarious. He's Guts, for real, for real. Since you're being sacrificed, I guess I'll be Boyd.
Everything lies within the currents of causality.
And that should bring us to the present. And unless you've been living under a rock for the past 6 months, you've probably seen an entire legion of content creators crying about this guy.
You know that Hassan Piker?
Yes, somehow, the man with the small head who kicks a bag worse than any mid-40s woman doing jazzercise has become the face of radical politics and terrorism on the internet. So much so that the feds are now pulling him into back rooms to talk to him about Twitch bans.
For those of you who don't know, I was detained.
If you don't mind, we're gonna skip this. We try not to talk about.
Hassan would respond, basically calling Tectone a but what happens next elevates this story to an all-timer.
Apparently, Tectone, as soon as he came after me and talked about his father's like military record or whatever, the internet
True, this does apply.
Found out that dad did the same shit that he did.
And victims like Heath Phillips. When he told his commander, his report was ignored. The Department of Defense says 19...
Those are the people. Those are the people that congresswoman was talking about, apparently related to Tectone's dad.
1,000 incidents of assault occurred in 2010 alone. Nearly 90% went unreported.
Biggest photo you see is of Colonel Michael Robertson. He was convicted of 14 accounts of assault.
Turns out Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, folks.
Hey, you know they got your mans. They got your mans on assault charges. Yeah, you be hanging with. The you be hanging with. And he was your mans. He was your boy. How you grew up with him.
After being embroiled in abuse and allegations for months, Tectone's own father turned out to be possibly the most infamous sex pest in U.S. military history. His father was such a that they literally had televised C-SPAN Congress hearings in an attempt to stop future assaults by using him as the example.
Pretty bad.
I rise again today to draw attention to the epidemic in our military of and assault. 19,000 women and men each year are or assaulted in the military. This travesty is not being addressed, and I will continue to speak out on this floor until it does. Today, I would like to tell the story of one of the 8% that were prosecuted. The story of Colonel Michael Robertson, who commanded Fort Bliss's 31st Combat Support Hospital at Camp Dwyer, a military base and airfield in the Helmand River Valley in Afghanistan. Last week, Colonel Robertson was convicted by a military judge of 14 charges, including having on his government computer, harassing 3 women, and assaulting 5 women. 8 women that served under his command testified at great cost to their careers and their privacy. Colonel Robertson routinely touched them without permission on their breasts, thighs, and buttocks, and encouraged them to look at computer. Some testified the harassment occurred daily. Despite repeated warnings, Colonel Robertson also emailed friends and female subordinates. What makes the defense's answer to all these actions? That all of these jokes and the touching were attempts to boost morale. Colonel Robertson, the majority of assailants are older and of higher rank than their victims. They abuse not only their authority, but also the trust of those they are responsible for protecting. Survivors can email me at stopmilitary@mail.house.gov if they would like to speak out.
This was all part of the creation of the Sexual Assault Training Oversight and Prevention Act, which was created because of Tectone's father. You may be thinking, wow, can't get any more absurd than this, right? Well, you would be wrong, as Tectone regularly would have his father on live streams and podcasts. And what do you think that typically looked like?
Obviously, you're not aware of my first podcast with Techie.
Oh, the one where I showed you.
What do
you think about that?
Do it again.
Daddy issues?
They all have daddy issues. Well, she has a facial expression as if to say, hey, sailor, I like the little short dress. She looks like she works out.
One of the first things Tecto says to me is like, sup, dude? By the way, my 17-year-old father thinks you're hot. And I was like, uh-oh.
First thing he did was he put me into some kind of headset and costume and put me in this AI room.
VR chat.
Am I moving? Oh, my God.
Yeah, so that's chill. And that's
yeah, but how?
Using his father for content. Using his girlfriends for content. Using his friends for content to increase his popularity, his relevancy, his parasocial connection to his viewers. It is a sickening trend that is happening. And you know what? If it was wholesome and sincere, fine. But in reality, this is someone who has had a past, who probably didn't need to be on streams with an audience that is as young as the ones Tectone has because of the genre that he covers.
Oh, Lord, have mercy. And so he's got me in that headset, and I'm in there, and
I'm holding them on.
It's getting bad. And,
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's as dressed up as a girl.
I gotcha.
Right, because that's the thing.
Yeah, or whether it's you dressed up as a girl.
Probably mostly Asmund.
Yeah.
We're gonna give him a heart attack, I swear to God.
A convicted pervert father and son bonding, where you feel up anime waifus in VR that may or may not be men, is insane, even by my standards.
And you can, the sensors made it feel like I was being touched.
Damn.
Yeah. And it felt like this one character was unzipping my pants. Freckles, the hair.
And I want you to bark for me.
Woof. Wait a minute, I got another dog. I got another. Want to hear my other dog? Oh, that's my other dog. Woof, woof. Oh. How we doing? She looks real submissive and looks like, in the words of Halsey, I can take a pounding.
What do you think?
6 years old, maybe?
Yeah.
That's what she looks like.
Do you know what a lolly is?
Looks like a 3-year-old.
What a furry is?
No.
There are people who...
Yeah, this is the kind of stuff that we've been talking about recently on our channel. Lolly adjacent content, you know, again, if it was just somebody that was under the age, you know, playing these kind of games, which are already bad, but at the same time, it's okay in the United States because this is fine. Balatro isn't. It's the fucking criticisms that you should have about our system in general. And yet someone like Tectone, who's a grown adult, is propagating this stuff. Someone like Jonathan Light TV is propagating this stuff. Someone like all these other people are propagating it. Like, come on, everybody. We can do video games and not have this. Make a choice. Admittedly, you know, I'm open to it. I'm realizing the issues more and more now as I do content and stuff like that. And we all can have, you know, our time that we finally see the light. And today is that time for you, potentially. Wake up.
Who dress up in like dog suits. But you know what pegging is.
I can tell you a great pegging story.
One of them.
8 stepmoms? Hold up. What?
7 stepmoms? How many have I had?
I'm a bad man, but it ain't, okay? It's like saying you're going to not have the money shot. It ain't, there ain't a money shot. You know, people ask me, what was about the military? What did you like? Well, I love the camaraderie.
Stop military.
Incredibly, Tectone brought his father into the online arena, and even though he had sexual charges, thought it would be wise to have him goon out to lolly and VR gotcha game degeneracy. The reaction to Hassan striking back at Tectone was met with many people bemoaning Hassan for attacking family or going low. However, Tectone brought him onto his own platform. He can be talked about, and if you think for a minute I shouldn't talk about him being an infamous convicted military pest, you can go yourself. I don't care. The following is taken from a blog that sources news publications that were done at the time, dated November 13th, 2011. Quote, after he was found guilty, the colonel walked over to one of the victims and said, I'm sorry. She started to sob and walked away, appearing to make sure not to let him touch her. Later, before he was sentenced, the colonel looked at the women who accused him from the stand and said, I would like to apologize for any and all of the actions that led to these proceedings being necessary. It was never my intent to harm or offend any of the women, and I will take the burden to my grave. The colonel's mental health doctor at Fort Bliss testified that he was as a young child by a male caretaker. He currently suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder and depression. There is some cosmic irony that both Tectone and his father's response to allegations in court proceedings for sexual impropriety is in both cases to state that they were both victims of abuse. In Tectone's case, to use as a shield as to why he couldn't possibly have done anything wrong, and in his father's case, as an attempt to explain his behavior.
That's very true. And to be honest, listen, we all have trauma. We all have a past. We all have things that we're not proud of or that we regret or that we feel embarrassed by. And listen, they can define you. They can make a difference in your life and unfortunately have you go down different paths. But at the same time, the sooner you try to, you know, understand it, to get perspective, to get help, it can not necessarily elevate or increase your overall, you know, your look on your overall look of life. It can actually help in some cases get a better perspective, and you can succeed from that. But you do need to get some help at some point in time, and maybe that's the issue here.
And then Hassan starts going after my father. And I get very confused by this. Because me and my father have had a pretty bad past. I'm pretty open about this. My father's gone to prison. I'm very open about this.
Here's Tectone 2 weeks prior to this, where he acts like he has no idea what anyone's talking about when his father's convictions are brought up.
Your father went to jail for the same. Oh, really? Wait, tell me more, man. Tell me more. What else? Who'd my dad? Who? 5 women in the military accuse your father of? Really? That's crazy. You think so? What else? That's why he went to jail discussing vote. Really, man? That's interesting. How do you know so much? How are you so all-knowing? My father's gone to prison. I'm very open about this.
You are a bald-faced liar.
If anybody's surprised, yeah, my dad's gone to prison before. Me and my father have had a pretty interesting past.
Instead of addressing the news surrounding his father, who he brought on streams, and just take the L, Tectone decides to pull on the heartstrings of his viewers and talk about all of his childhood trauma. There's really no need to, and it comes off as manipulative, while under a microscope of controversy.
When I was a young boy, I came from a very, very, very poor family. I did. My mother never really treated me well, and I was named after my father's best friend because I was supposed to die at birth.
Are you serious right now, bro?
I lived with my mother until about 3rd grade, and you know, something very bad happens to me. I don't feel like talking about it. Due to that thing happening to me, lawyers get involved, the court gets involved. When I moved in with my dad, it was a very like hands-off relationship with me and my dad. He bought me and my brothers a separate apartment to live, while him and my stepmom lived in a separate apartment.
And right away, Tectone is provably misrepresenting the truth yet again.
Tectone said that whenever he was in high school, you had a separate apartment for them to be at, so you could have privacy with your own apartment.
Fourth grade.
All right. That's not untrue, but that is a misrepresentation of the truth. So he and his brothers went into a 2-bedroom that was down the hall until 4 months later when we moved to a house.
Don't lie right now.
Yep. So conveniently saying something to help him out, right? Saying something that makes everything that look worse, and that you should have sympathy and to help him out. This is a tried and true tactic of Tectone. Like, it's just fucking insanely stupid how people keep on, you know, literally believing everything he says. Whatever happens to him, he will make it sound like the worst thing ever for you to have sympathy. And he knows that his community does, and he leverages that, and he's been very successful at it. And he's also destroyed other content creators because of it, which is the issue. And people, by the way, his fucking relationships, which is the issue. It's not even just about fucking money. It's about all the other people that have been hurt by his actions specifically.
You lie!
And me and my father never really interacted much, and I was just considered the failure of the family. I was on by pretty much everybody, including my dad, I'm not gonna lie. And I'll be real, I was never really treated too good.
Yes, after bringing his father on podcasts and streams, now that the internet has found out his history, he is going to completely throw him under the bus for hundreds of thousands of viewers.
Father becomes incredibly violent. I hear that my father has been accused of a crime, even though my father never treated me too well. Nobody ever really wants to believe that about their dad. And I'm just gonna be real. Like, when you talk to my dad, he be grabbing you. I'm not gonna lie. And he doesn't do that anymore because I told him it's weird as shit. But he would like grab your shoulder, he would grab your arm. And he said that's what he got convicted for. And obviously he took some of the aggression out on me. I got back from soccer practice, which I joined because I wanted to make my dad proud. And I put a orange soda can on top of my trash can. My father threw me to the ground and put a gun against my head. And he said, "Give me a good reason not to shoot you."
So you felt comfortable bringing your father around all of these public people several times, and now that he has some hate online, you're going to out him as this abusive monster? It's strictly, in my opinion, to garner sympathy from his audience, and just totally using his father to do so.
Now, obviously, this isn't really anything that I just really want to talk about on stream. However, a really great Twitch streamer,
You know that, Hassan Piker?
is just making me relive my childhood trauma because of all this. I hated my father because he never told me that he was proud of me.
You serious?
He always made me feel like a failure, and to be honest, he was quite abusive. Looking into what I heard that he was convicted of, which I never did.
It is quite literally the first and third results on Google when Googling your father's name, Tectone. The third in all caps, assault in the military.
I guess 15 years after the fact is quite painful.
Well, he has a community of a bunch of underage cultish sheepish tennis people that will believe every word he has to say.
It is. Anyways, fast forward a little bit after I was home.
So he knew that his clothes would cover his Berserk tattoo. So this narcissist decided to get one on his fingers as well. Is that what I'm seeing now? Is this what I'm actually being? This is why I don't like literally search every fucking possible answer to every possible issue of Tectone. But now that I know the Berserk reference, I have to go and do my due diligence here. Let me just see something. Is that what that is on his finger? Is that also a Berserk symbol? Or is that some other thing? Trident?
It is.
All right. Anyway.
Anyways, fast forward a little bit after I was homeless for a tad.
Here we go. Poor guy. Homeless. Using every one of my tried and true tactics.
Would DM them about how sometimes I had no money to where I couldn't even afford to eat. And it got met with laughter. Due to this all being resurfaced by Hassan, due to what my father was convicted for, which really hurts to say.
I mean, I'm not sure why you've known about it for the last 15 years.
True.
It's kind of hard to think of your family as a monster, but I didn't sleep much last night. I honestly didn't want to believe it last night.
Yeah, sure, it's not like people have been posting at you that your dad went to jail for being a pest for the last 5 months.
And I don't really know what to think, but I think the fact that Hassan wants to imply that I'm a monster
You know that, Hassan Piker?
based off of who my father is disgusting.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that was like, I tried to be the fair person in this debate. And then your actions dictated that, yeah, that's true. You are the person most likely, and it's by byproduct of your upbringing, most likely as well, which is sad. And you do need to get help for that. And you said you're going to go to therapy. Hopefully you do.
And has, I guess, epigenetic memories of. It's just like it's a familial obligation over here.
And to imply that I'm a.
Yeah, whatever. He made a joke at your expense. Because you've been involved in SA allegations the past year, and then the internet found out that your dad was one of the most infamous pests in U.S. military history. I get it. I made a whole documentary about it. It's like an absurd cosmic joke at your expense.
And to imply that I'm a.
This is the same man that makes videos about other people crying on stream and calls them weak, calls them irrelevant, calls them not worthy of being a content creator. Shouldn't even exist, actually. I think from my previous video, Tectone is a bully video like 8 months ago. Weak-minded people. And I could understand his emotions. Like, I've sympathized. I mean, obviously, it's something that he'd known about 15 years ago, and his crying on demand seems very convenient to get sympathy. Oh, my God.
Is he whimpering?
I didn't even do that. What do we do? Okay. Your documentary has been your expose has been so good. Do not ruin it all by making the next 5 minutes this. You need to move on rather soon. I understand. Make fun at an expense, but it's a little bit.
The man is literally whimpering directly into the microphone over a joke Hassan, the face of terrorism in 2025, made. This is 100% performative. You cannot convince me otherwise. You could
I mean, I would agree.
Pause and play a song to center yourself, but instead, you're staying on stream and whimpering directly into a microphone.
After I myself have been twice based on what my father has done? It's just a little bit crazy, isn't it?
He is actually trying to use SA as a shield against Hassan Piker making jokes about his dad being a convicted pest. It's the BPD woman meme to say you were SA'd in order to be deemed beyond reproach or criticism. Funnily enough, he did the same thing with Pink when she made allegations against him.
True.
Maybe you're thinking I'm jumping to conclusions and being too harsh. Well, just a few minutes later, after that great performance to garner sympathy from his audience, he switches on a dime like nothing ever happened. You be the judge.
But, yeah. I'm gonna just keep farming the out of them. To be honest. Yeah, I don't give a
Dude, this is why ASMR shouldn't be a thing. This is so absolutely triggering for me. I hate it. I hate people chewing.
Yeah, straight up. I'm good. Yeah, it is what it is. There's not really anything he can say to deter me whatsoever, to be completely honest. Yeah, I think the guy's an absolute piece of shit.
Money, money, money!
Do I think he's in the wrong for what he said about my dad? No, not really. I mean, at the end of the day, those are public court documents. But try to tie me to that because of who my dad is, bro, you're retarded. You're just dumb. You know what I mean? Like, this whole apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Go yourself, dude. We all know the great guy your dad was. Thankfully, I have a little bit of class to actually not talk about that. What a joke. Anyways, we're going to be having a podcast with Dan Saltman later, which I bet is going to be so great. We have a great podcast with Dan Saltman and Nux Taku. That will be happening in 53 minutes. Hassan's favorite streamers.
Tectone's ex-girlfriend Pink would also say on Twitter that wasn't going to say anything, but that guy would not stop talking about how he wanted to have relations with a podcast member. Made jokes about women being.
That podcast member was Emaru. This was obviously something that I already spoke about previously on one of my videos.
In Vietnam, it made me extremely uncomfortable. I tried to say something and was told it wasn't a big deal. He would say the woman who accused him of SA in the military were liars, and I still can't believe he was allowed around other female content creators, including me. The truth always comes to light, and I hope those women know they did the right thing.
Your dad's a yeah.
Tectone's ex Pink posted proof in March she went to police, and on May 9th, after returning from traveling abroad, posted an email setting up further investigative meetings with the police. Tectone's community, who are obviously biased for their streamer, regularly accuse Pink of faking these screenshots. But don't take her word or mine that there is police matters at hand. Take Tectone's word.
Guys, I'll be real. I went to the police yesterday.
What an idiot. What a
I went to the police yesterday saying, hey, let's hurry this up.
I had no idea you could tell the police, let's hurry this up when they were investigating you. I'm learning so much, guys. This is awesome.
Like, legit. I got my lawyers like, hey, let's hurry this the up, right? Because, like, you know, they're going to investigate me. They're going to investigate me 100%. They're going to investigate me. They're going to investigate me 100%. I said, bro, just talk to me. Let's get this go. I've been waiting 7 months for these people just to reach out to me. And it's like, bro, can we just go ahead and wrap this up? Like, if anybody's worked with the police, it is so slow. It's unbelievable. And then all you ever get told is, I recommend you don't say anything. I recommend you don't say anything. I recommend you not saying anything. Let's handle this in court. Let's handle this in court. Let's handle this in court. It's like, brother, I don't want to go to court. I don't want to deal with it. I just want to live my life.
That's quite a change from his original threats to sue Pink for defamation, isn't it?
You no longer have 2 weeks. You have 24 hours.
I mentioned this earlier, but I did speak with Tectone. He said he would answer whatever I wanted. However, once he noticed the questions, he hid behind the NDA with Fream, even though half of the questions had nothing to do with her. I asked him about the allegations, and as stated earlier, he just straight up lied to me about that. I asked if he ever posted any other receipts as he said he would, if there was ever a period of time where Pink wasn't paying rent, and why he wasn't pursuing a defamation case after he said he would. He responded with, I think the problem with a lot of these questions is that with an ongoing lawsuit happening, I think you know I can't talk about a lot of this. Out of curiosity, to not fuel any fire, wouldn't it just be better to wait to make this video until the result of the investigation, or why does it need to be made now?
Of course, this is the time. Oh my God, I'm so glad they posted this DM because this is his tactic. He uses his friends to try to counteract anybody to have a narrative on him. He talks about me in my comments telling me to stop talking about him. This is tried and true. And instead, all he would have had to do is shut the fuck up, not leverage his community, and fucking go through the legal process. But he doesn't. He wants to go through public. He wants to go through the court of public opinion to make money, to get power, to continue to enrich his parasocial relationship with his people. And that's why videos like me and this person is making them, because that shit is not cool.
The guy is low-key asking me not to make this video in an attempt to cover this up. That's how I take it after he answers none of my questions. I asked which ongoing lawsuit, to which I received no answer, and asked again the next day if he was referring to the NDA with Fream, and again received no answer. The thing is, none of those questions I asked had anything to do with his NDA with Fream. They were all concerning Pink. In conclusion, I would say, in the public discourse, we judge these controversies that aren't definitively proven on the character of the parties involved. We know Fream was going to come out with accusations now 100% based on court documents obtained, and that Tectone has consistently lied about this for years. When Pink and Tectone got word of these allegations, they went absolutely nuclear.
She was going to do something much worse, so bad it would have ruined all of our lives.
They defamed Fream with cheating allegations to explain Tectone's behavior, which we now know is false with receipts. They also knowingly or unknowingly filed a false police report against her for revenge. Pink sues Fream, which from what we have available is filled with Tectone's stories and interactions with Fream, which I conclude is him participating and feeding info for Pink's lawsuit. He denies encouraging Pink, but we have proof of him participating. Pink gets cheated on. Tectone lies about the breakup date to avoid responsibility, and receipts are posted proving him wrong and showing Pink saying she was scared of him. Pink accuses Tectone of abuse. Her story hasn't wavered, and currently there is an ongoing police investigation according to both Pink and Tectone. Tectone says he can prove his innocence with receipts, but he never provides any, besides one on Pink paying rent, which he later gets caught lying about.
And honestly, it's really annoying because the reality is she doesn't pay rent.
Tectone threatens to sue Pink for defamation and saber rattles, but when she doesn't retract, he claims Pink knows every legal loophole, but we now know just because he isn't named doesn't mean he can't pursue, and still to this day he has yet to file a defamation case against Pink. I, while making a video on Tectone, reached out, to which he responded saying he will answer any of my questions, and then refuses to, when in my opinion he realizes how in-depth I've looked into this. I consider Tectone a liar and a manipulator of his audience, spinning stories to attempt to escape the smallest of controversies such as cheating, to the more extreme lying in the case of his response to allegations against Pink, and how he spun the rent situation. I began making this video over the absurdity of his father's infamous rape, coupled with his own allegations, and came away with revelations of his ex-wife alleging abuse that led to false police reports, lies, and lawsuits in response to this abuse potentially becoming public. This, coupled with the ex-girlfriend's abuse allegations, are a catastrophic combination for Tectone. It is the consistent lying and content of character of the parties involved which should lead people to look at the story again with all the events and timeline in front of you to consider. That being said, cheers everyone, and thanks for watching.
Wow. 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 Wow! Plazookas! Plazookas! You know what? I'll make a separate video. But this may be my arc. This may be my Tectone arc. We may be done with Tectone. This video may serve as all of everything. I'll keep my channel. I'll put it on a playlist. We may start covering other people. Because this sums it up very well. This is a great archive, a great edit. I'm very proud of this video. And as long as this video exists, I don't think I need to. I've said enough. I keep on saying the same things. This video sums it all up more elegantly, more concisely, more credibly than me. I'll make another video stating as much, but if you've watched this far, just be prepared for that. Yeah, definitely come out here and support Shamu here. I'm going to send him a DM, give him some, hopefully some accolades. Hit like and leave a comment. I'll post updates on Twitter as more. Okay, so yeah, fantastic video. I'll reach out to him at some point. I can't do it right now. I'm just too busy. That's my video. Part 2. We'll conclude this and may conclude Tectone coverage. Cool. Bye for now.